Hello and welcome back to the Dee Louise Poetry Podcast with your host, me, Dee Louise. I started this podcast as a promise to myself to sit with poetry a little more intentionally. Each month I share original poems over on my blog, and here in the Sitting With series I choose a classic poem, slow it down and share my thoughts. Not to analyse it line by line, but to let it unfold a little and to reflect on what it could be telling us. This episode is about presence and the strange, sometimes uncomfortable gift of letting all our emotions in. We're sitting with a poem called The Guest House by the 13th century Persian poet and Sufi mystic Rumi. This one hit me in a quiet but powerful way. When I first read it, my reaction was, I need to do that more. Be more present, more open, less quick to resist whatever's showing up. And I doubt I'm the only one. Here's the poem. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house, empty its furniture, still treat each guest honourably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So, Rumi begins with an image, the self as a guest house, and every emotion a visitor. What intrigued me is that he doesn't start with good guests. He starts with sorrow, shame, hard feelings. And he doesn't flinch, doesn't rush past them. He opens the door, says welcome. And I don't know about you, but that idea is uncomfortable. It feels a little wild, honestly, to greet sorrow at the door, not with fear or resistance, but a kind of curiosity, maybe even kindness. In the second stanza, the poem shifts. Rumi gently suggests that these unwanted guests might be preparing us for something, some new delight, he writes. I like that line. It doesn't promise answers. It doesn't say, this pain is worth it because everything will be fine. It just says, maybe this feeling is here to make room for something else, something you just can't see yet. Later, the poem edges into something even bolder. He tells us to laugh as we greet these guests, these visitors. Not just tolerate them, laugh. And I'll be honest, that part, it feels like a stretch. I can't always laugh when fear shows up, or grief, or the kind of sadness that arrives in the middle of the night uninvited, but I get what he's pointing to. Laughter here isn't about denying pain, it's about release, a loosening, a shift from clenching to welcoming. By the end, Rumi takes us somewhere spiritual. He suggests that each emotion might be a guide from beyond. Something sacred, disguised as sorrow. Something transformative, even when it feels like a loss. Rumi himself was a 13th century Persian poet, Islamic scholar, and Sufi mystic. His life was changed after meeting his beloved mentor, Shams of Tabriz. When Shams disappeared, some say he died, some say he left, Rumi's grief was so profound it cracked something open, and what poured out was poetry. Poems about love, presence, loss, the divine. And centuries later, his words are still reaching across faiths, languages, and generations. For me, the final lines of The Guest House circle back to something deeply human. We don't always choose what emotions arrive, but we do choose how we meet them. And even if laughter feels too far away, openness, that's a start. I chose this poem because this month I've been thinking a lot about connection. The poems I've shared on my blog so far, Calling to a Stranger and Held, both look outward. They are about what it means to reach for another person, whether someone close or someone passing. But this poem, The Guest House, turns the gaze inward. It asks, when something rises up in you, joy, anger, fear, tenderness, will you turn away or will you sit with it? Will you listen? Because sometimes what we need most isn't to push something out, but to let it speak. If this reflection resonated, I'd love for you to like, share, or follow. There's more on the way. And as always, thank you for sitting with me.